Hi guys, welcome back to this YouTube channel. So for today's video, we are going to discuss about the homeroom guidance of grade 11 quarter 3 module 8 entitled The POweR, Positivity, Optimism, and Resiliency to Cope. So at the end of this module, you are expected to number 1, identify how one copes with life's challenges and struggles. Number 2, describe the concept of optimism and resiliency. And number 3, devise healthy ways to build and promote positivity and resilience. In the previous module, you developed an in-depth understanding of basic rights and laws in the country. In this module, you will now find ways to become more positive, optimistic, and resilient. The learning task you will encounter here will help you realize that though life is not always a walk in the park, you can still make it through and surpass all the challenges that life will throw at you bravely. Let's proceed to our first activity, entitled Larawan ng Lipunan. It is common to hear people say that we Filipinos are a happy people and that we always find a reason to smile despite unfavorable situations. Directions. Look at the picture and try to grasp the message it is trying to send. In a clean sheet of paper, try to answer the following questions. Number 1. How do you feel while looking at the picture? Number 2. What can you say about it? Number 3. What is its significance to the current situation that we have now? Directions. Read the following text and do the succeeding task. Activity 1. Everyday Heroes. Filipinos are known to often see the bright side of things. Sometimes, you can even hear someone jokingly say, "Magpasalamat ka, may problema ka. Tao lang ang may problema. Kung wala kang problema, baka hindi ka tao." Which meant, being thankful if you are struggling because having problems means you are normal. Indeed, everyone has their own issues and difficulties to deal with, and there is no one exempted from this. One may be having problems where to find food to eat for the day, while another might be dealing with personal issues. Problems and hardships may take varied forms, but what is much important is how we deal with them. All around us, every person is trying to deal with their own situations. One may be sweeping the streets to earn money for food. Others may be working part-time in order to provide for his school needs, while there are some who may be trying to put their life back together after a calamity. Every day, everywhere, there are stories like this. You will identify and share similar stories of people you know personally. This will allow you to recognize and share your unique stories of positivity, optimism, and resilience to inspire one another for you to become better in handling the challenges of life. Direct your attention on the following questions. This will enable you to recognize instances where you showed positivity, optimism, and resilience in their lives. Number 1. In what situation do you remember where you stayed positive, optimistic, and are resilient despite having a big problem, especially during this time of pandemic? Number 2. How did you feel when you faced difficult situations? And number 3. How did you manage life's biggest threats? Example, floods, fires, health crisis, that in the family, and etc. Directions. Number 1. In a one-half crosswise pad paper, write down a story of a person whose life story shows positivity, optimism, and resilience. And number 2, share your story with your family members. Another directions. Do the following task. Write in a clean piece of paper and write your name and grade level. Number 1, how do you feel after sharing with your family members? Number 2, what have you gathered from the sharing? And number 3, how can you further improve your sense of positivity, optimism, and resilience? Activity 2. Hashtag, okay ka pa ba? Directions. Do the following task. Number 1. Let one of your family members ask this question to you. Okay ka pa? Number 2. Embrace yourself now for 2 minutes. And after that, you will ask the same question to yourself. Number 3. Approach and ask the same question to your parents or siblings. Do the following task. Write in a clean piece of paper with your name and grade level. Number 1. What do you feel after the hashtag okay kapag activity? Number 2. Why is it important to update and check yourself and others? And number 3. How can you use this in your daily lives? Understanding positivity, optimism, and resilience. Positivity is a way of thinking that helps yield emotions such as joy, delight, happiness, peacefulness, gratitude, and inspiration. Hence, saying that a person who has a positive outlook in life is considered as someone who views life's challenges to be bearable as they always look at the bright side of things. Optimism is when a person tends to assume positive outcomes in one's life. It is further described as being assured and determined even if things are not going well. An optimistic person believes that one can overcome trials and difficulties, and expects that something desirable will transpire to a person in the future despite being in a terrible situation. For example, you have an idea of starting a business venture. Being young as you are, you can easily get scared and even discouraged to continue. But if you do proceed believing that everything is going to be fine, then that is optimism. Resilience is when a person goes through the process of adjusting well in the face of hardship, disturbances, tragedy, threats, or any sources of distress. Having a parent get sick can be a great source of stress for the other members of the family, as their finances, schooling, or work can be greatly affected. Resilience is seen by being able to respond well to or bounce back from a difficult experience. Examples of resilience is being able to function well enough to rebuild a house after a typhoon or any forms of calamity. Although having your house wiped away by a flood is tragic, having to move about and actually do something to improve your situation afterwards can be referred to as resilience. How to develop a positive attitude in 5 steps. Accept possible changes in life. Relax and slow down if you are surrounded with negativity. Refill your body and mind with the energy that you needed. Be with the right people for support. And lastly, do activities such as exercise, meditation, eating healthy foods to adjust your stress. These are the ways to build resiliency. Establish good relationships with friends and family members. Look at the bright side, even though you are facing difficulties and challenges. Continue discovering yourself and your potentials in life. Develop your confidence and belief in yourself and your capabilities. Make realistic goals that are attainable. Focus on things or events that you can change and achieve. Make action with your decision in reaching your goal. Broaden your outlook and perspective with optimistic attitude if you will encounter undesirable events. And last but not the least, acknowledge the need of your body and mind by taking care of yourself. Process questions. Number 1. How will you know if you have a positive outlook in life, optimistic and resilient? Number 2. What is the impact of learning about positivity, optimism, and resilience? And number 3. What other ways can you suggest in improving your positivity, optimism, and resilience, especially in this COVID-19 crisis that you are experiencing? Write your answers in a clean sheet of paper and write your name and the title of the activity. Since we are done with our discussion, let's try this activity entitled Danger Room. The Danger Room is a training hall of sorts used by a group of mutant superheroes. In this room, the heroes get to simulate threats and attacks, using it to train how to respond to changing situations in the battlefield. You shall now become part of the Danger Room. Directions. By this time, you are now equipped with essential knowledge on the ways to develop and maintain positivity, optimism, and resilience. You will be asked to respond to the adversity presented using the concepts recently learned. Sequence of the activity. Number 1. Write on the meta card several threats, problems, or issues. Example are earthquake, floods, fires, death of a loved one, bankruptcy or financial problem, separation of parents, health crisis, and etc. And in number 2, the color red is before the incident, the color blue is during the incident, and the color green is after the incident. And in number 3, write also in the yellow matter cards how you can be positive, optimistic, or resilient before, during, or after the incident and post it in your journal afterward. Process questions in the previous activity. Number 1. How do you feel about the activity? Number 2. How do your experiences from the activity simulate your responses to life threats and challenges? And number 3. How can you help others improve in terms of positivity, optimism, and resiliency amidst the COVID-19 crisis? This activity, entitled Inspire Mark, will surely test the lessons you've learned in our discussions. So at this point, you have gained an adequate understanding of positivity, optimism, and resiliency and its necessity in your everyday life. You are now capable of skills for building and maintaining the traits under the study. So for this activity, you will demonstrate your understanding by creating a personalized bookmark or Inspire marks, which are simply customized self-made bookmarks that contain a personal quote expressing yourself to stay positive, optimistic, and resilient at all times. Number 1, you will have 1/8 lengthwise strip of white, 8.5 by 11, specially board paper or any available clean blank paper. Number 2, write your personal quote about positivity, optimism, and resiliency onto the board paper. And number 3, design the output as you please with the coloring materials available. And lastly, once you are done, you can give that bookmark to someone you think needs that personal quote. So here's the example. Life goes on no matter what. And now, it's time to share your thoughts and feelings. This activity, entitled Insignia Sketch Challenge. In a clean sheet of paper, draw an insignia or logo representing your thoughts and feelings about the importance of this lesson. Use relevant symbols and write a short interpretation about it. So in the left side is the insignia or logo design, and in the right side is the interpretation about the insignia or logo design you draw. For additional activities, prepare a 1/2 crosswise sheet of paper or any available clean paper. Answer the following questions and compile this in your journal. Number 1, what did you feel after giving a personalized bookmark? Number 2, what are your reflections for today's activities? And number 3, what skills and knowledge have you gained that can help you become more positive, optimistic, and resilient?